Welcome in. This is a brief flight. The FlightGear Cessna 150. Parked up here on the ramp is looking very nice. I've got a custom livery, a blue and white colouring scheme. Call sign is custom. It's Golf Alpha Alpha Tango Sierra. It's not a plane I know in real life. It's just one I made up. Any issues with the audio or feedback on it be great. Both microphone and in-game sound. I've not got the engine running, so there shouldn't be any on FlightGear at the moment. And just look at this. Just look at this incredible place. It's not the best looking game, but it's still got all the locations you like. This is very famous to both the flight sim and real world community. This is St. Barts. This is near Princess Juliana Airport, one of my favourites. So we'll go ahead, we're going to shut our door. You hear it shut there. Go back into the cockpit and we're going to initiate our startup. Make sure all the lights are off on startup. It might be useful to activate the joystick as well. And there we go, we've got control now. We're going to turn that battery and master alternator alt switch on. And we want to try and crank this up to full mixture. Startup on a Cessna 150 is relatively simple. And on this game you can usually average about 60 frames per minute regardless of what aircraft you're on. So don't worry about it dropping frames whilst you're starting up or anything. It's usually able to handle it. Okay, right, we got distracted. So we put our mixture to rich, the simple starter. We've run our battery and master. We need to prime the engine. We need to do the alternator to both. Prime the engine. You want to be careful when you do it on this aircraft. It is realistic. If you go on the aircraft options, well, sometimes you can change it so you can make it more realistic depending on what aircraft. I know there's 182 Skyline, it's got more like frost and ice effects on it and failures, including a co-pilot, but on this one you are on your own. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start. We've primed our engine, just crank that throttle in. There we go, solid start. If you don't get a start or you get a warning light over here, you probably need to put a bit more throttle in. I'm going to do flaps when we get to the runway. We're going to stick our strobes and beacon on. We don't need our strobes and navs yet. It's a warm environment, so we don't need our pitot heat. We are going to stick our lights up a little bit, make them brighter. There isn't any other option there for a cabin light. You just got to put up with the sort of custom or generic lighting they've put in. Okay, we put some cabin heat on 0, but we'll put the air on 50%. Make sure it's nice and cool in here so we don't pass out. Okay, clear. The area is clear. There's no one else at this airport. Go ahead and release the parking brake. If I can remember where it is, usually it's below. Usually it's around there. Is it on it? We're already doing a circuit on this aircraft, or maybe a few circuits, depends how it goes. Parking brake is off. A bit more thrust. Maybe the parking brake was on before. Ah no, there we go, we're moving. Just because I want to. Stick the nav lights on. We won't do the strobes. We'll listen to that Cessna. Just listen to it powering up. Like, we'll probably skip all. We might do the magnetos. Probably do it before takeoff, but for me it's the sound and the colour scheme. Everything else about the aircraft is pretty amazing. I'm not surprised it was one of the most popular ones in the world. And the 172, of course. I'm not too fond of the 172. Personally, I prefer the 150 or the 152. This one's a 150. So we're really talking old school. This would have been used 60 years ago. Oh my, we've just randomly had our nose shoot into the air and the engine's cut out. Okay, this might be because of the location, so we're going to go ahead and and start up again. Oh dear, that's not a good start. They do the prime. Now we're not even starting. Oh dear. I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear anything at all. We're not even... You know what, I'm going to go aircraft options. But we're somehow still moving. Ah dear. Dear. This is not going well. Reset the flight. That's a kind of bug or a glitch. Probably a bug. Seemed to hit an invisible object. We're going to go ahead and skip the start because we've just done it. Aircraft options.
Welcome aboard. Need help? Use help tutorials.
There we go. And straight into the startup. We got taxi lights, beacon. I'm going to turn the navs on. And we're just going to go on a different route this time. Seems to be that taxiway. That caused the issues. Oh my goodness. Whoa. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I have no idea what is happening right now. We're going to go ahead and just skip to a completely different location. I thought the same Barts would work. It was working last night. Go ahead, and we're just going to go straight to Princess Juliana. That's super unfortunate. We just put Princess in. Princess Juliana, we're really close. We go to, we're just going to go straight to the runway. There we go. A lot better. Laps 10. It's a steep takeoff. Anyone who's flown this infamous sort of departure will realise just how difficult it is. You can only depart this way. You can't depart the other way. I've never seen an aircraft depart the other way. So they always land from behind. They always land on runway 10 and take off on runway 28. Sorry, take off on runway 10 and land on runway 10. Never a change, maybe it's just the wind direction. Okay, we've got an issue with the attitude indicator now. I think this aircraft is foobar at this point. There's no option to repair it either. We've got an engine at the start. The attitude indicator's failed. FlightGear needs to... Well, hopefully by the time next update comes out, it would be fixed. It will be fixed. We got an overspeed now. Our controls are not working. Oh, this is a nightmare. Look at that power on that engine. Well over the recommended RPM. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lean that mixture about 70%. That should help to bring both the RP down and temp oil flow, which might correct it. Everything's on. Go ahead and turn them off and back on. Still nothing. Laps up. You can fly using the turn coordinator. That's what it's there for. It's also a bank angle indicator, which is what its main use is, and it will help you to calculate your turns on DMEs and VORs, NDBs, etc. We have in fact got an NDB, an ADF, sorry, not an NDB, an ADF, which is this radio compass. It'll give us the indication of where the ADF, where the frequency to the station is. We've got this thing up here, which is a DME indicator. Because this is such an old aircraft, you don't have a GPS. We can just use our visual log. That's most of what the Cessna 150 was used for, visual approaches and flights. Okay, we're going to turn the magneto off and back to both. Trying to restart the system, get that attitude indicator working. Can a pilot fly without an attitude indicator? Yes. Yes they can, 100%. Do they want to? Not necessarily. Not in a tropical climate like this. You want to be having fun, not worrying about what's going on with the plane. Stick that back up to Rich. Attitude indicator seems to be getting there. We might have to keep climbing, we'll climb, turn. See, I'm even having issues, despite having a high RPM, I'm even having issues with the elevator. I'm pulling fully back there and it's not going up, it's not pitching up. So I think we've got, and the engine keeps cutting out, I think we've got some major issues in this plane. Equipment doesn't show any failures at all, and instrument and system failures are all working. Instrument absolutely all working. Yeah, see DME. Let's just go ahead and fail that, and now restart it like that. Let's see if that helps. Ah yes, that's worked. Thankfully that's worked. So I failed it and brought it back to life, resurrected it, and it seems to have fixed the issue. The engine's still overheating. And it's overspeeding. Equipment. Okay, we're going to do an engine failure very briefly. I'll make sure the engines are working. Equipment. System for the... we want elevators. Elevator rudder. So the plane's probably going to spider out of control at this point. Apply. They're all failed, we can't control the aircraft. It's doing fairly well. We reapply. And let's see if that's... so yeah, slightly more control there, but the engine's still cutting out. Reduce that throttle as we level off. Amazing view. We are going to land on runway 28. We're going to make it a little bit different. I know when I played Flight Simulator X I used to land on that runway. Not necessarily the most popular thing to do, but people still did it. They wanted a challenging approach. And FSX was my go-to simulator back in 2010, 2011, so we're talking like 15 years ago. It's such a long time. Set that carb heat on, keep our RPM at 1700 for a powered descent. As you can see, we're descending. We should be descending at a decent rate, about 80 on the speed airspeed indicator. In case you don't know what these instruments are, you've got the airspeed indicator on the left that tells you how fast you're going. You've got the outside scale and the inside scale. Attitude indicator tells you how much you're pitching up and down and turning left or right. Turn coordinator tells you how much you're turning, to the left or right. The ball is the rudder control. You need to keep the ball centered to keep the aircraft on track, otherwise you're going to drift off course. You can see when I'm turning, it's drifting slightly, but I'm keeping it fairly centered. This little compass, it should be self-explanatory. We're heading approximately east on a heading of 080. The clock, self-explanatory. We can see the time. Vertical speed, it tells you at what rate you're ascending and descending, so we're descending at around 400 feet a minute. Altitude indicator is telling us we're at 600 feet. Once it goes past 1,000, this little thing will move almost like a clock as well. You'd think it's like 25 to 1 at that point, but it's not. It's don't confuse that with a clock, because you're in big trouble if you do. Obviously, if I've explained the DME, you follow this to track a DME, you follow the radio compass to track an NDB approach. You need to keep adjusting the NDB. You can't do it on this aircraft. you have to keep adjusting that to follow the course correctly. Radio stack, not on, won't turn it on. Radio stack there to communicate with the tower, and we should have a transponder that will respond and control the aircraft's sort of stages on its flight. So 1200 is standard, and we've got an emergency like tuning to 7700 for example. RPM just tells you what revs the engine's at. You'll give your aircraft a certain RPM per minute on certain parts of the flight, such as takeoff and landing, descent, climb. At the end there we got suction. These are not really things people would be too concerned about. Fuel level is important, oil pressure and temperatures are also important. All of them need to be in the green. Reduce that back to 1500. We have got 30 degrees of flaps. We're down about 500 feet a minute, slightly fast. Reduce that throttle and pitch down. Should be pitching up, but we're pretty much on finest, so we can idle it. Idle that engine and just let it glide in. Hold it off as long as possible. Engine's cutting out, so you want to hear that stall warning ideally. As soon as you hear the stall warning, we know it's a butter landing. Come on. Almost at 40. Holding it off as long as I can. Nah, there was no stall warning. That's unfortunate. Okay, we got a low amp meter. I think that's it for now. We've done a bit of flight. We had some issues. Probably post this to get FlightGear to perhaps potentially look at it, improve it. Who knows, they might even have somebody come out and do a new release with graphics as good as explained. I doubt it, but you never know, we could always dream. Taxi in here, just hold. Thank you very much, I hope that was enjoyable. We got the Cessna 150, I hope to do some more videos on it. I just really hope in the future when we do these, when I do the DMB and NDB and DMB approaches, that we can use this. Can't really change the radio compass, so it's making me think we can't. So yeah, we might have to just make do with DMB. Thank you very much and have a lovely day, and I'll see you tonight for the 6:30 X-Plane stream.